Thank you so much for sharing practice with me this afternoon. And just before we get started, if anyone needs blocks, we'll be doing a warrior 2 and some variations on eagle pose. So a block might be helpful. And then, you know me, I always use an oil. So I'm using rose oil today. And rose oil is one of the oils that helps us open up our heart center, or also known as our heart chakra. The Sanskrit name for that is anahata. So today we're going to be practicing about reaching higher. And reaching higher is in our poses that we will practice today, but also in, how do we reach higher and get out of our habitual routines and behaviors and patterns. And so we'll be working on opening our heart center, as I said, our heart chakra, which is one way to allow ourselves to move past our normal belief systems and maybe look at things differently. So we're going to start out a little different today, usually, and I will end with a quote, but I'm going to start out with a poem. So if you'd like to begin to come to center and either soften your eyes or let your gaze come down to the floor, down to the earth. We'll begin by taking a full breath in and release, and a full breath in and release. And just let your natural breath flow in and out. And one of the poses, one of the birds associated with reaching higher is the eagle pose, Garandasana. And eagles, as we know, are the bird that flies high. They reach high. They fly over clouds in the storm. And we equate them with courage. So listening to these words as we begin our practice, what is the path to freedom? The path to reaching higher? At every fork in the road, there is a conditioned response, and one that is unpatterned, bold, and free. The old known way is more comfortable, but the other path holds mystery and wonder. Do you feel the possibilities? Can you reach higher? So bringing hands to heart center, taking a moment to reflect on the words. Is there a place in your life where you can reach higher? And releasing your hands, coming into mountain pose, feet pressed into the earth, finding that stability beneath you. Let your hands come down to your sides and turn your palms forward and feel that beginning opening of the heart center. So we'll do a number of poses that will open our heart center so we can be receptive to the possibilities. And on an inhale, we'll reach up towards the sky. And on an exhale, hands coming through Anjali Mudra to heart center. Inhale, hands in prayer, pressing back up to the sky. As we exhale, releasing our left hand down and reaching higher with our right as we begin to arch over. Inhaling back to center, hands coming through Anjali Mudra, heart center. Reaching back up to the sky, right arm floating down and reaching high with your left as you begin to arch over. Breathing. Inhaling back to center, twisting over to the left. And once you get here, just let your attention come to all along your spine, just to see if you're feeling any tightness here. And this might be a good stretch right here. If you feel you need a little bit more, take an inhale and imagine the crown of your head is pulling up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, let that twist come from the waist. And using your inhale to extend and exhale to twist to find that place. You're getting a twist without any tweakiness in your spinal area. And we'll sweep back up through center and twist over to the right. Using that same breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Inhale to extend, exhale to twist. Sweeping back through center. And we'll just reach side to side. Really extending, reaching high. So sometimes you'll hear this referred to apple picking. So just imagine you're climbing up higher and higher in that tree for those juicy red apples. And then coming to stillness, letting your arms come down into goddess arms, cactus arms, heart center is open. And this is a quick energy technique for moving energy in your heart center, is coming into goddess arms and crossing over. Coming into goddess arms, and then whatever hand was on the bottom, put it on the top. So you're opening your heart, gathering in universal energy, opening, gathering. Do that a few more times, breathing. And then the next time you come into goddess arms, sweeping all the way back up, reaching high. And then letting your hands float through Anjali Mudra. We'll come into a sun salutation. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, folding forward, and that can be just bringing your hands or forearms to your thighs, or folding all the way forward. I'm just going to come up into a nice straight back, so bringing your hands either to thighs or your shins. Gaze is forward here. Then folding forward. Palms turned up towards the sky as you sweep all the way up with hands at heart center. We'll come through that again. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, folding forward. Coming into straight, flat back as you release into forward fold. And sweeping all the way up with hands at heart center. We're going to come into a different variation on a cat-cow today. So bringing your hands down to your sides. We'll take the inhale, do a few regular cat-cows first. So on that inhale, pressing your heart center forward as you gaze up. And as you exhale, curling into cat. Chin to heart center. Inhale, opening. Exhale, curling. I'm going back and forth a few times on your own, just so that you can follow your breath, integrate your personal breath flow with the movement. And then the next time you come through cat, we'll come up to mountain pose. And we'll come through that again, a little bit different. We'll add a variation on. So inhale, coming through cow. Exhale, as you come through cat, take your left knee and curl into cat, bringing it up. Releasing that leg, moving into cow. Curling into cat, bringing the right knee in. And as you move into cow. Exhale, left knee up into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, right knee up. Moving into cow. And then just take one cat-cow without the knees. Coming back up to mountain. And taking a few circles right here just to loosen out your hips. Breathing. And then going in the opposite direction. And releasing back up to mountain pose. So another way to quickly move energy in your heart center is just gently tapping right on your heart center. So let's do some tapping. And this tapping is anytime you're feeling maybe an area needs some special attention. It could be you just need to move your energy. So you can really use tapping as a energy technique to move stagnant air. You can go all across your chest, all around your heart center. And release and just shake out your hands. We'll extend our left leg. Make some circles with your ankle one way and then the other. Then come to stillness and pull your toes back as you flex and point, flex and point. Going back and forth. And you're going to bring that knee up, cross over for figure 4. And this may be everything you need right now for stretching your hip. And this is where you're going to be today. That's great. But just lightly flex your foot so that your knee, the knee that's bent, is protected. Other variations are to take an inhale. You can fold forward and maybe it's just leaning on the inside of that shin. For some, you might come a little bit more forward. So find where that stretch is good for you. And remember to breathe. Imagine as you take your inhales going right into that hip. The hip set. work so hard for us and are connected to our back. And then slowly let yourself come up and release. And then we'll come to the opposite side. So extending your right foot. We'll start with those circles. Breathing here in the opposite direction. And then the point and flex. Point and flex. And then when you're ready, you can cross that ankle over your knee. Come into that light flex in the foot again. And you may do something different on this side because typically one hip is a little tighter than the other, but you can play with it and discover where you are. So I like to take an inhale, and then as I descend down, depending on where I'm going, I do that on the exhale, that we bring our breath along with us. So as we think about breaking patterns and habitual behaviors, and we think about opening our heart center can be opened from the front, can be opened from the back. So even in these forward folds, we're moving energy by coming in and letting our back be open. And gently pressing all the way back up. Release it. We'll sweep up to the sky. Folding forward. Coming into a nice straight back. Releasing once again into the forward fold. Sweeping all the way back up. With hands at Anjali Mudra. For an inhale. And an exhale. We're going to sweep our arms up once again. And a couple options here. We can either come into full eagle arms or you can come into crossed arms. So full eagle arms is taking the left elbow under the right and then bringing, depends on, again, how loose you are. I'll turn sideways here. So some people can get their arms together. I can't. But if this is too intense on your shoulders, especially if you're having any shoulder difficulties, just cross, putting that left hand underneath the right. So either variation. And I'll just move into cat pose here. And then open up to cow pose, either variation. Slowly releasing your arms back up to the sky, reaching high. And we'll come into eagle arms or eagle arm variation on the opposite side. So slowly letting your arms come float down and bringing your right elbow under your left or your right arm under your left if you're crossing shoulders. On an inhale, curling into cat. Exhale, reaching high in cow. Releasing your arms, sweeping all the way up. And slowly, slowly let them float back down. And bringing hands to Anjali Mudra. and release. So we'll come into warrior two. For those that are practicing standing, please feel free to stand. For those that are seated, I mentioned a block because before everyone jumped on, I was saying how for me it's difficult to come into warrior two pose on the chair because I have tight hips. But I'll show you first using a block. So I am putting my right foot on the block. I'm turning my left with my knee bent. I can see a toe there. You want to be able to see a toe. And then extending your arms. So that's one variation. Other variation is not using the block. And this is the one that for me personally is a little challenging. Or you can stand. So any variation. Going back to reaching higher, reaching further. Imagine that you're being extended from fingertip to fingertip. Your heart is open. Turning your palms upward to the sky, sweeping all the way up. And then as you exhale, coming back down into warrior two. Palms up to the sky, inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, releasing. And we'll do this one more time, reaching high, and then coming back into warrior two. Gazes over your fingertips, taking 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Turning the left palm up as you sweep all the way back, coming into reverse warrior. Stretching, reaching, and keeping that left knee bent. We're going to bring left forearm to your left thigh as you come into extended side angle. And we'll do a variation here. We're going to leave our arms straight up to the sky. Remember, for anyone that this is not working for you today, you can put your hand by your head or on your shoulder. Reaching up and taking an inhale, reaching a little higher. Taking another inhale, reaching a little bit higher. And then letting that hand float down. Both hands go back up as hands come to heart center. And we'll turn to face the edge of your mat. If you're standing or seated, your toes are going to come out like we're going into goddess pose, which we will sweep our arms up. And we will come into goddess pose here. And just take movement of crossing our arms back and forth. So we want to keep moving that energy in our heart center. So like the eagle, we find that courage to fly higher. We find that path to freedom. We have courage. Next time, open, hold, open. And then bringing hands to Anjali Mudra at heart center. We'll come to warrior two on the opposite side. So if you're using the block, it'll be your left foot going up. Right knee is bent. Make sure that knee is nice and firm. Same with standing or the other variation. You want to make sure you're nice and firmly planted. And on an inhale, you'll turn your palms up, sweeping up to the sky. And releasing. Sweeping up to the sky. And releasing. One more, sweeping up. Releasing. Looking out over those fingers. And maybe even take a gaze back at your arm that's behind you. Make sure it's nice and straight. Just gazing over those fingertips. We'll take those 3 breaths, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, dropping the back hand. Right palm comes up as you come into reverse warrior. Reaching. Then we'll release that pose, bringing the right forearm to the right thigh. So if you're standing, if you're seated, still same thing. Extending that left arm all the way up. We're gonna keep reaching higher. Reaching higher. Reaching. Breathing. And then let that back arm come all the way down. Sweeping up with hands at heart center. And we'll come back to the edge of the mat. Toes slightly pointed out. And we'll bring our hands down to our thighs. And letting your left hand stay where it is, we'll extend the right all the way up. And arch over. Coming back through center, right hand to right thigh. We'll come over to the opposite, so reaching up and arching over. Sweeping up. Both hands on your thighs. Take an inhale to open. Exhale, curling into cat. Inhale, open. Exhale, curling into cat. One more time. Inhale, open, holding. And exhale, curling and holding. Letting yourself come back through center. And you can stay right here. So we're going to make sure that we're prepared to come into eagle pose. And eagle pose is a balancing pose, but we'll still do a couple more things for our hips to make sure we're ready. If you want to use a block, you can use a block for this, or your feet can be on the floor. For some, we're just going to be crossing ankles. So I'll show you using the block. I'm bringing my left foot up. And I'm taking my right and I'm crossing it over. So this actually, if you were seated on the ground, it's called cow face pose. So if this is not accessible to you today, you can just put your feet on the floor and cross your ankles. So you're still getting that stretch in the hips, maybe not as intense, but you're still getting what you need. It's all about intention. There are poses that some people, myself included, have never been in, will never get in. But I had a teacher say to me, if the intention is there, your body will be in the preparatory state, and that's all you really need. So find that place. Feel the cross of your legs. Breathing. Taking an inhale. Exhale, release. So whichever variation you were in, you can uncross. We'll go to the opposite side. So bringing right foot, and you're either going to cross left ankle over right or left knee. Breathe, let yourself sink into the pose. So sometimes it's really nice to do these on a chair because you can feel your hips. Feel the support. And then taking an inhale. Exhale. Releasing. And let's take a few circles here. We want to loosen out our hips. And then we'll come into eagle pose, and let's all go through the variations. The last one will be for those that want to stand and feel as though they have balance or a wall. I love walls. Go the opposite direction. Well, because the eagle, as I said, is fearless and has courage, I think going through some of the variations help us to know where we're flying high. So let's start out with eagle, just crossing our ankles. So putting your left foot, and imagine that you're really grounded into the earth here, and crossing your right ankle over. Let your arms be whatever variation you practice, because now you know what your shoulders want to do here. So because our left foot is on the bottom, our left arm will be on the top. So if you're doing shoulders, the left arm will be on the top. If you're doing eagle arms, it's going to be on the top. So whichever variation. And breathe. So if you find in the chair you're pulling forward, let your posture come nice and straight. Think of the eagle flying, reaching high, being curious, but yet courageous. And then slowly unwrapping your arms and unwrapping your legs. We'll go to the opposite side, so pressing into the right foot, crossing the ankle. Right foot is on the bottom, so now it'll be on top. You're doing shoulders or eagle arms. So find your eagle, Waldenstrom, and breathe. Feel the opening of your back. Energy flowing in. And as you release your arms, no matter which variation you were using, let them open wide so you're also opening again, heart center. Uncross your legs. Make light little fists, and once again, tapping. Making sure that energy is still moving. And release. Coming into eagle pose seated. So for those that the ankle is where you're practicing, you'll just go into that again. Otherwise, press into the earth with your left foot. Cross your right knee over. Make sure you're nice and grounded here. And then whichever variation of arms you're working with, since the right leg is on top, it's going to go on the bottom with either shoulders crossed or eagle arms. Just like we did in the beginning, take that inhale, raising your arms through your elbows, reaching high. Then slowly coming down, opening your arms, uncrossing your legs, hands to Anjali Mudra, heart center. Left leg over right. Left arm under. Breathing. Taking an inhale. And as you exhale, reaching up. Slowly unwinding your arms, opening, unwinding your legs. Let your arms really press back. Then bringing hands to heart center. Taking an inhale and an exhale. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, left arm down. Right hand goes lightly on your head. We'll take a little neck stretch here. So you're not pulling, you're just putting light pressure. Letting your head come back to neutral, hands sweeping up. Right arm coming down, left arm on your head, gently pulling over. Sweeping all the way up, letting hands come to your thighs. Nice straight back, and you can walk your feet out here. Let your heel toe your feet out a little. And we're going to come into a forward fold, so you can, again, stay here with your thighs, or let yourself completely fold forward in between your legs. And if you going too forward is too much, but you want to have a little bit more, use your block. I'm starting to find some stillness and quiet in your forward fold, going within, turning inward. Opened our heart to be like the eagle, reaching higher, opening to possibilities, which might mean looking at our habits and behaviors, the patterns that are common to us, comfortable. Slowly walking yourself all the way back up, sweeping up to the sky. And take a twist just to release out any tension from eagle pose. Coming back to the center, to the opposite side. Back to the center. Bringing hands through heart center. As you make your way into Shavasana, using any props to make it a comfortable pose for you, a pose of surrender. So if you're using your chair and your short blocks might be helpful to go under your feet so that you can kind of scooch back in your chair. Actually, for some people, holding your shoulders just like we did in eagle pose is comforting. Finding relief. Finding softness in surrender. Beginning to become aware of your breath. Taking a moment to watch the inhalation and exhalation, the flow of your natural breath. And then make some little movements with your fingers and your toes, bringing yourself back into your physical body. And let your eyes become aware of any light in the room. Your ears feel the sounds and hear the sounds, the vibrations. And in this moment, just reflect on what reaching higher means to you. Is it patterns, behaviors, or is it like the eagle reaching for courage? Overcoming obstacles. And we'll listen to this quote. May you have the strength of eagle's wings, the faith and the courage to fly to new heights, and the wisdom of the universe to carry you there. And opening your eyes, bring our hands to heart center. And I close my practices with my other classes with the sound of Om. Om is one of the ancient sounds practiced by all yogis. You can feel free to join in one chant of Om or just listen. So taking a full deep breath in. Om. Om, peace, Om. May you have peace in your heart. May all beings have peace. And may we share that peace with each other, our community. Namaste. The light and the teacher in me honors the light and the teacher in you. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Thank you.